right. Thank you, class. Fall in, fall in. Okay. Find your seats. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about perspectives. Yes, perspectives. I don't have anything formulated to discuss, but what I do have today is dun da 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 definitions. So, first off, let's define perspective, right? I have it here pulled up on my computer. You can't see my computer, it's off screen, it doesn't matter, but I have it right here. Source, trust me, bro. All right. So, perspective, right? The first definition that we have is a view or a vista. I don't know what a vista is, and I don't care, but I know what a view is. A view is from whence you can see something. The position from where one can see. That's the first definition, right? The second is one I think I'm more partial to for this video. The second definition says a mental view or outlook. A mental view or outlook. That's another definition for perspective, probably the focal point of this video, right? And the third definition that we have here is the appearance of objects in depth as perceived by normal binocular vision. I don't really like that definition. I'm going to tell you why. I don't like definitions that use the word or the enhanced or the reduced version of a word, like prefixes, suffixes, right? Using the same word to define, it doesn't help me understand it. So that's not a definition that I think I need to use here, right? So that's perspectives, right? Now, your perspective, like I said a few moments ago, is dependent upon your position in this arena, in this picture, in this diagram. Your position determines your perspective. I'll give you a perfect example. The perspective of an ant is not the same as the perspective of a hawk. The perspective of a swordfish or a shark is not the same as the perspective of a wolf. They see two totally different things at almost all points in time. They live in a different perspective, right? When it comes to you and your perspective, what I want you to do is to change your perspective or enlarging your perspective. Because the way you see things may be incorrect. The way you interpret things may be wrong. The way you understand things could be incorrect. Right? And sometimes in order for us to gain a better understanding of something, we need to see it from a different perspective. Sometimes we may need to ask someone how they see it or what they think about it. Sometimes we may want to read other people's experiences to gain a better level of enlightenment. And sometimes we just want to experience it ourselves to gain a more in-depth perspective. Right? Another thing, not only regarding the position of your perspective, Let's also look at the size or the density of your perspective. Let's say, for example, you have a golf ball and you have a basketball, right? Let's say your perspective is the size of a golf ball, right? And to make it even simpler to understand, let's say perspective is just how much you can see, right? So let's say you're in a dark room and there's a peephole that's a golf ball sized peephole. So you look through the peephole and you can only see but so much, right? Now, you change that golf ball size perspective into a basketball sized hole, right? Think about that. When you look out your door, out your peephole, right? It's quite small. It's quite small. It gives you a very small perspective outside of your door. But when you open your door, you can clearly see who's there, what's out there. You know what I mean? You can even turn the corner and, you know what I mean? You're changing, enlarging, enhancing your perspective. Think about doing that with all the things that you don't quite understand. Ask more people about it. You know, ask more questions. Have more experiences. Read more stories. Find more examples. That's a good way to enlarge your perspective. Doing more study, right? So when you look outside your door with a golf ball size perspective, as opposed to a basketball size perspective, you can see more, you can understand more. Let's use sports also as an example. Think about this, right? A pro athlete in the NBA versus a junior varsity high school basketball player, right? Of course, the NBA player would be better. But we're not talking about their skill level. We're talking about their perspectives, right? This NBA player, let's say he's played in the NBA for 7 years. 7 years. This rookie junior varsity player is just getting familiar with the competitive side of basketball outside of pickup games after school or, you know, at the basketball court or the rec center, whatever. Right? What that rookie basketball player sees and understands about the game pales in comparison to what the NBA player does, right? The NBA player, he's more precise when it comes to his shooting, his movement, his understanding of the fundamentals of the game. Right? This newcomer doesn't see half of what this NBA player sees. Their perspectives on the game are completely different. And if you're a basketball player, when you first started out or tried out for the team versus where you finished, your understanding and your perspective of the game is completely different. It should be larger. It should be wider, right? That applies to everything in life. When you have a more seasoned perspective, when you have a more mature perspective, when you have a more enlarged perspective, right? You're able to know more. Now, I kept using this word understanding. Let me give you what the definition of understanding actually is. Since I have my computer readily available for me, why not use technology to my advantage? Right? So let's find that definition. Understanding. Understanding. What does understanding mean? Is this the Oxford definition? Okay, this is the American Heritage Dictionary. Always good to cite your source. They teach us that in school. Okay, so understanding, the first definition that we have here from the American Heritage, it says the ability by which they did what I hate. They said the ability by which one understands. Intelligence. Intelligence. They're saying understanding is intelligence. I don't completely agree with that. Okay, so the second definition, the quality or condition of one. Oh my God, this is. Let me just go to Google because this ain't. I'm using a different browser. Google. Okay, understanding definition. And please bear with me. I'm trying to be more organized. Understanding. More organized in my my daily discussions because ultimately I'm going to be teaching. Now I keep calling you guys class. Oh wow. Wow, there's another one that has understanding that. Wow. All right, so here we go, right? Here we go. Here's the definition I think is okay. It says sympathetically aware of other people's feelings, tolerant and forgiving. Another definition, that's the adjective version of understanding, and having insight or good judgment. Okay. I think that will suffice. I think that is satisfactory. Having insight or good judgment. Insight, being able to see into a situation and understand what's going on. Right? I want you to change your vantage point. Let me also give you the definition for vantage point. If you don't know what that is, I'm here to teach, guys. So that's what I'm going to do. So vantage point, a position that affords a broad overall view or perspective as of a place or situation. So maybe you can't see the full picture from your current vantage point. Maybe you need to climb a little higher up that mountain. Maybe you need to climb a little higher up the ladder. Right? Maybe you need to swim past that buoy. Maybe you need to drive a little further. Maybe you just need to walk just a little bit more. Or just read. Whatever it may be. The road to improving oneself, it all starts with understanding. Right? Understanding is a wellspring of life. This is something that the Bible teaches us. Understanding is a wellspring of life. A lot of times you can end up in bad situations or end up no longer here because of a misunderstanding. In order to avoid misunderstandings, seek knowledge and wisdom so that you always have understanding. And this understanding that you have, you can impart unto someone else's perspective. Those with reason, of course. Some people, they're set in their ways. They're not going to listen to reason, especially if they're upset or whatever. But right, perspectives make all the difference. Perspective is what will have you feeling great about something, feeling bad about something. Feeling if you can make it or maybe not. You ever seen those videos where someone's running through a hall and the perspective of the hall just keeps getting longer and longer and longer? That's a horrific perspective to have. Because you feel like you can never achieve that end. In the other video, the matrix is all around us, right? I spoke about the perspective of reality when it comes to your mind making things real, right? No, I'm sorry. I think that was in Imperfect Perfection, Even the Demons Believe. I think that was the one it was. Either way, they're all good listens, right? So tying into that, off that point I made before, your mind makes it real. When you're in a state of belief or a perspective where you believe something to be real, that consensus reality, you're willing, right? You're willing to sacrifice everything for what you believe in, even if it's wrong. That's the power of belief. That perspective of belief, right? We saw the power of that perspective when it comes to belief with the results that we just got with the political race, right? Those people had a particular perspective about America, about Donald Trump, about Kamala Harris, about what's to come, right? I'm not going to say they're wrong, because in the last video I said you don't have to tell them that they're wrong. I'm going to practice what I preach. But over time, the truth will be revealed, right? Whether they want to admit it or not, whatever it is, allow them the luxury of making that choice. Allow them to change their own perspective. That's one thing you should never try to do, is change someone's perspective. You should never try to forcefully change someone's perspective, because they're going to want to fight against it. Even if they know that you're right, they're still out of spite just going to say no, right? Allow people the luxury to make their own choice or their own decision. You make your own bed, you lay in it, right? In this video, I'm not trying to change your perspective personally. But I think that if you allow yourself to change your perspective, to enlarge your perspective, to allow yourself to get outside of your comfort zone long enough to make a new place of comfort, right? Changing your perspective can change your life. Do you want to change your life? Try changing your perspective. Well, how do I change my perspective? Get up and move. Open a book. Talk to people. Do research. Watch more videos on the subject. Look at vlogs. You know what I mean? Experience it. You got to do more. You got to do more than just sit at your computer screen all day. If you sit at your computer all the time and you work from home, you live on a computer, you have a warped perspective when it comes to life. It may be difficult for you to socialize and understand and possibly do business with people face to face, right? So in order to change the perspective from someone who's a shut-in, a hikikomori, if you're familiar with Japanese culture, if you go outside and just started talking to people, your perspective about yourself and other people will change. Sometimes just talking to other people is enough for you to change your perspective about yourself. Sometimes we don't really see our true selves. We don't really see who we are. Sometimes we have a warped perspective about ourselves because we were never told the truth. Right? Even if you don't like the truth, that doesn't make it any less truthful. The truth is the truth. And no matter what you want to do, no matter what kind of perspective you want to have when it comes to said truth, and I'm not talking about your truth or their truth, I'm talking about the truth. The truth. Your perspective may not reveal the truth, but time always will. So when it comes to perspective, Allow your belief to be suspended long enough so that you can see things from the right perspective. I'll say it again. Sometimes you need to suspend your disbelief long enough so that you can see things from the right perspective. You don't want to see the wrong thing. Suspending your disbelief is just simply saying, I don't know if this is true or not, but let me see where this goes. It's not saying I believe it or I don't. Let me just wait and see what I can gain in terms of understanding or perspective, because I really don't know, right? Our experiences is what allows us to have perspective on things. My experience in life allowed me to have a perspective on God and the Bible. There are people who don't believe in it, and that's okay. I'm not here to convert you. But if you like the things that I say and you think that I'm a somewhat reasonable person when it comes to the things that I speak about, suspend your disbelief long enough to crack the Bible open, to have an experience, have a meeting, keep living life, and he'll reveal himself to you. That's if you want to find him, if you want to know him, right? But outside of that, change your perspective, change your life. We want our lives to be better. I believe the first step is to changing your life is to change your perspective. You have to be able to change your mind. If you can't change your mind, you won't be able to change anything in your favor. I'll leave you all with that. Professor Hawk signing out. Class is dismissed. I bid you adieu. Till next time.